And welcome back, rugby fans, to Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata. And well, week one in the 2026 MLR season is in the books. And what a surprising game that was. Speaking as a California Legion fan, very, very surprising. We'll get a little bit into the details of that match, but that does lead into our very first video for our power rankings for week one. Now, I know, technically this is kind of an odd video because there was only one match this week one. Officially, week one, there was one match. So, really, the teams are kind of up in the air exactly where they're going to be. I'll be honest with you, the way that the other teams that did not participate in week one, the way that are ranked are based purely on my way too early predictions of how they will finish at the end of the year. If you want to, you can check out that video in my YouTube channel. It was very interesting, and again, it's a fun little activity because I'm usually really, really off with it. So we'll see how that turns out. But that's why, as you see, I have Chicago, Free Jacks, Seattle, and Old Glory in the position they are. The only two positions that are up in the air and that can honestly be kind of determined by just one game so far in the season is the game between California Legion and Anthem Rugby Carolina. And we might as well go into that game. In that game, Anthem Rugby Carolina, congratulations to you guys, won their very first game in Major League Rugby history. After 32 attempts, they are now with a win in the win column. So with that win, Anthem Rugby Carolina gets, for the very first time, a number one ranking in my power ranking, the highest they have ever been. I don't think they ever got higher than 12 in previous rankings. I have to research that. And then that means, of course, the technically debuting California Legion will debut in the number 6 spot with that loss, 39-26. Let's talk about the game. So, to be honest, the problem, again, this is a supposedly brand new team, but really, if you really want to go into the nuts and bolts of it, the California Legion really is the former RFCLA with a little sprinkling of some Legion players. To be honest, a lot more Utah Warrior players and Legion players in there, and a couple of other new players and additions, but the core essence of the team, the coaching staff, is almost entirely from RFCLA. Most of their main players are all RFCLA players, and a lot of the weaknesses and issues that the team had last season are very, very apparent in this season. Defense, almost non-existent. A lot of penalties came up. Interestingly enough, Anthem actually had more yellow cards in this game than the California Legion, 3-1. But despite that, California Legion still were not able to really score, because every time that the California Legion had the opportunity to score, numerous times to be exact, they would end up shooting themselves in the foot with either having some sort of penalty. One instance they almost scored and there was actual obstruction, or they had a yellow card at one point. So really, the California Legion were their own worst enemy, and that was very, very similar to how RFCLA ended up finishing a lot of games where it looked like they were going to win, but by the second half, the game somehow got away from them. Let's go a little bit more into detail with the Anthem game. Off the start, the very first person to score points in the 2026 season is Luke Carty for Anthem Rugby Carolina, getting a very easy penalty kick. Right after that, Legion scored their very first try in their franchise history with Cole Semu, who looked very impressive in the game. But then after that, Connor Mooneyham, birthday boy Connor Mooneyham, who scored not one but twice. He got a very impressive brace on his 30th birthday. Congratulations and happy birthday to Connor Mooneyham, the very first collegiate MLR draft pick back in 2020, was able to have a showcase of a match, and he was able to really score very, very easily. Again, the defense of the California Legion, just like with RFCLA, almost non-existent. I don't know what that says about the team. They can score points, and they scored quite a few points in this. They actually got a 4-try bonus point, even though they lost, so at least they didn't walk away with nothing. But for whatever reason, the California Legion, RFCLA, has a lot of defensive issues, and they sprung up like crazy here, not only with those easy scores by Connor Mooneyham, but near the end of the game, 2 very easy maul tries that were scored by Anthem Rugby Carolina, where the California Legion looked just completely confused on what to do in the in the scrum. So yeah, it wasn't a very good defensive performance by the California Legion. Let's talk about the yellow cards. And let's talk about the very first appearance of the MLR's referee review system, the RRS. I gotta say, I honestly don't know really what to... Obviously, we only have a very, very small sample size here with just one game. But the RRS showed up first with a review of a punch that, unfortunately, Joe Mano, who, again, I also gotta mention, Anthem Rugby Carolina did a really good job on limiting Joe Mano, who was the top try scorer last season, from barely ever touching the ball. I think he only touched the ball once. Most of the time, unfortunately, he was in the sin bin because there was a referee review system of an alleged punch that Joe Mano threw, even though the Anthem Rugby Carolina were being given a yellow card by the referee. They reviewed it. The process did what it was supposed to do, and yeah, it was technically a punch, but the punch missed. So, fortunately for Joe Mano, he was only given a yellow card. Could have been worse, but honestly, and again, it's the very first game where we had the referee review system. It took a bit of time. And then the referee review system popped up a second time. And this one, it was a challenge by the California Legion on a possible held up ball in the try zone. The California Legion challenged it. They thought that they put it down. Again, it took a bit of time for the referee to see the footage, but, he was able to confirm because, again, there had to be clear evidence that the ball was put down. The original ruling was it was held up. There was no clear evidence, and it was pretty apparent it was held up, and it was held up. So with the Anthem one, when they challenged with the possible punch, they didn't lose a challenge, so they kept their 2. With the California Legion being proven that there was held up, they lost that challenge, so they were down to 1. Those were the only 2 times that we saw the referee review system. Again, very short, very small sample size. I really do feel this is going to be something that obviously someone's going to have to look into. It took a while for that to happen. I really feel TMOs, obviously we didn't have any TMOs, so I don't know if the game necessarily ran any smoother than it normally would. I felt the game went as fast as it normally would. I just really felt the referee review system really slowed or stopped the game. Like, again, I never felt the TMO really did this, now we gotta stop and watch it. I never felt that. I felt like, they reviewed it, and I feel the review was pretty quick. With the referee review system, it really felt like, now we gotta slow down. It really felt very similar to a review being held by a American football or an NFL league system, where the referee has to go to watch the camera, to watch the film, and really figure out if that play, should it stand or shouldn't. I really felt it was like that. And, if you're an American football fan, that really does slow the game down a bit. So again, it was only our first game, our only first 2 times we saw the referee review system, but yeah, I really felt that it did kind of slow the game down a bit. But overall, I don't feel losing the TMOs added or made the game any faster, in my opinion. So for right now, I really don't feel like this referee review system is necessary. But again, it's only one match. We got plenty of more MLR season to figure out where this is going. But anyways, going back, after that punch by Joe Mano, Anthem Rugby still had a yellow card. They got another yellow card shortly after that. So there was at one point where Anthem Rugby Carolina was down 2 men playing against California Legion. California Legion were able to score a try by RJ, Ryan James. but they were still behind at the half, 20-12. And like I said, in the second half, it didn't go any better for California Legion. There was a score attempt that they tried to make, but unfortunately, there was obstruction right before they scored. So a lot of unfortunate shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, it just California Legion came off very flat. And when Anthem scored their two scrum tries, it really felt like it was all Anthem. Anthem was very hyped. They felt very, motivated to win, despite the fact that this game was in technically the California Legion home in Orange County at the Great Park. There was a big turnout of Bruins fans for Will Sherman, who was drafted by the Anthem Rugby Carolina. So even though technically they are the UCLA Bruins based in California, LA, they were rooting for Charlotte because their boy was playing for Charlotte. So it almost felt like a away game for the California Legion. And in the end, the California Legion, despite getting a nice try by Ben Houston and a nice try by Ben Sugars, two guys who have scored numerous tries for RFCLA last season, California Legion really never got a chance in this game. So again, they went down 39-26. Like I said, California Legion were able, fortunately, to get a a try bonus point for scoring 4 tries. So they didn't walk away completely with nothing, but they did walk away with the loss. And they go down in the history books as a team to give Anthem Rugby Carolina their very first win. Like I said, Connor Mooneyham looked like a stud out there. Also got a shout out to Kobe Milne for California Legion, the new scrum half, the new fly half. He was a top point scorer in the shoot shield a couple years ago. He really showed his class in this. I was a little worried about losing Christian Lealifiano, who was the top point scorer last season. Clutch off of the tee. Kobe Milne did the exact same thing. 3 for 4. He didn't get a lot of scoring opportunities, but he only missed one. But he made some really impressive kicks. So Kobe Milne, I feel, not really going to be very hard to fill the shoes, the very big shoes of Christian Lealifiano. So that's at least a good point for California Legion. They obviously got to go back to the drawing board, and man, they really got to get their stuff together because their next game, even though it's going to be home, technically in San Diego, which that's going to be very interesting as well, they got to host the reigning, defending, three-time Major League Rugby champion New England Free Jacks, which will not be an easy game. But that is our Week 1 power rankings. So again, Anthem, congratulations, not only your first win, but first time being number 1 in the power rankings of Rugby411. And of course, unfortunately, California Legion debuting at number 6. Of course, next week, everybody gets to play. So this whole power rankings may be all scrambled up. And speaking of which, let's go on to the preview of week number 2 next. All right, now let's go over the Week 2 slate of games. Starting off, Friday Night Footy comes back to Major League Rugby as we have Old Glory DC going over to the former two-time MLR champions, the Seattle Seawolves. This is the sixth time that these two teams have faced off against each other, which is quite surprising because these two have been around for a while. But considering for the longest time, both of these two teams were in different conferences, Western and Eastern, kind of makes sense that they don't get to play each other very often. What is an interesting stat is that actually Old Glory DC has the slight edge over Seattle. They have 3 wins compared to Seattle's 2, but all 3 of those wins by Old Glory DC were at home for DC, while this game will be at Starfire Stadium in Seattle, where Seattle has 1 win over Old Glory. Obviously, Starfire Stadium, a very loud stadium in Seattle, 4,500-seater. I think for this game, I got to go with Seattle for this one. Seattle, obviously, they always have a home pitch advantage. I feel Seattle is really upgraded with a lot of the players that they got on, especially David Coutier is going to be part of the team now. They have a lot of talent. Old Glory, not so bad, but they've also lost a lot of players as well. but I got to go with Seattle for this game. Then we move on. We have a doubleheader on Saturday night. Saturday, April 4th, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh, by the way, this is a 7:30 p.m. game on the Pacific Coast, so it's a late game on the East, 10:30 kickoff. So for you East Coast fans, it's going to be a late night, but it's a Friday night. Yeah, what else are you going to be doing but watching rugby, right? On Saturday, April 4th, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time kickoff, Chicago Hounds taking on Anthem Rugby Carolina, who just won their first game. This will be at the American Legion Memorial Stadium, 10,500 seater. This is the fifth time that these two teams have played against each other, and not shockingly, Anthem has yet to win one against Chicago. As much as I know Anthem's going to be running on high from their very first win, I think Chicago still is the team to beat. If Anthem is able to beat Chicago, I would be shocked, and it would really say a lot of how much of an upgrade this Anthem team has been since now adding a lot more American Eagles players and just really, really boosting up their team. But I think Chicago still is the team to beat this season, and I don't think they're going to go down lightly. I think Anthem will still be looking for their very first win at home after week number 2. And then 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so it's kind of nice. These games are evenly spread out, so you could definitely watch both of them back-to-back on Saturday. The reigning, defending, three-time MLR champions New England Free Jacks go against the California Legion. This one taking place in San Diego at the former San Diego Legion home Torero Stadium, 6,000 seater. Again, California Legion didn't look very good coming out of the gates against Anthem, and now they have to host the very, very tough reigning, defending, three-time MLR champions. Even though it's going to be at home, and that one's going to be a little tough too, because I don't know what the turnout's going to be. A lot of the San Diego Legion, the cohorts, they've made their opinions known about what they feel of this new branding of the team, and it'll be interesting to see exactly what the turnout will be. It might be just like the game against Anthem, where it ends up being more of a home crowd for New England. Because, speaking from experience, I do know that the Free Jack fans do travel, and they might actually fill up the stadium more so than the cohorts, which doesn't bode well for the California Legion. Now, also what will be interesting is who is healthy on the California Legion, because it did look like quite a few players like Nick Chan, Cole Semu picked up some injuries in that game against the Charlotte, Carolina. What is really cool is a new feature on the Major League Rugby website where if you click on competition, they have an availability report. Fortunately, I am doing this video on Tuesday night of this week. There's a reason for it, which I'll talk about later. The availability report for these 3 games is going to be available tomorrow, April 1st, Wednesday night, so I won't know exactly who's available. But man, if Nick Chan and Cole Semu are out, and Billy Meeks, who was not available for the Anthem game, might still be out as well, that's some really big talent that California Legion will not have when they go against the New England Free Jacks. But the availability report, a very cool new feature, especially if you are into Major League Rugby Fantasy and you're picking them. I don't know too many websites that do that anymore. Unfortunately, as you notice, we don't have Super Brew that's doing it this year, but that is a very cool function, so you can figure out who exactly is available to play for the teams. But, again, I am a California Legion fan, but unless New England, who did lose Jason Patros, because they lost Jason Patros, ends up coming out flat themselves, which I don't think is possible. But hey, they had a very slow start last season. Maybe California does pull off the upset, but I really do feel this is going to be a game 1 win for the former the defending reigning three-time MLR champions. So those are my pick'ems. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me also know what you think about the power rankings below as well. And I just got some news to share with all you guys. This weekend, I unfortunately will not be watching any of these games live because I won't have the opportunity or time to do it. I will actually be part of the live broadcast team in Tampa, Florida for the Tropical Sevens rugby event. It is a 2-day event. Tropical Sevens is the biggest rugby sevens event in North America. Over 200 teams participating. Hundreds of players are participating in this as well. It is teams that are playing in over 16 different age divisions, from as young as under 12 to as high up as the adult elite. We have teams from all over the world. We have teams from Australia, from Canada. We have a group representing the UK, the Lit Sevens UK. We have a group from Bermuda for the very first time. We have the Mexican women's national sevens team competing in this. We have teams from all over. It is going to be a fun 2-day event. And you can be a part of it if you want to join our live stream. Just follow the link that I put up here on the screen and get your early bird pass. Buy it now because it's going to be cheaper than the day of. And it's a 2-day event kicking off this Friday and then Saturday as well. All day long. 15 pitches are going to be going at it at once. And yours truly is going to be announcing on one of them. I won't know exactly what my schedule is just yet. But if you follow me on my social medias, you will know as well. As soon as I know, I'll let you guys know. But again, join us. It's going to be a great event, especially if you love rugby sevens. And who doesn't like more rugby? In between the games for Major League Rugby, you can catch out some sevens games as well. It is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm very honored and excited to make the trip down to Tampa, Florida to watch and broadcast and commentate this entire event live. It is going to be really fun. But that is why I'm doing this super early, because I got to get prepared for my trip to fly over there, as well as I got to take a lot of notes on what's going on. Over 200 teams. I got to learn a lot of roster names and a lot of facts and figures, so I can be on my A game. But yeah, join me on that if you can. Again, information, the link on the screen as well as in the comments below. And let me know what you think about my power rankings. Let me know who you think is going to win these 3 games. Hey, Major League Rugby is back, baby. I am super excited. This is week number 2 of the 9th season of Major League Rugby. As always, thank you very much for checking out our channel, giving me your support. I appreciate it. And if you're in Tampa, Florida, check out Tropical Sevens, and I'll see you on the pitch.